Here we are on the banks of Lake Como in a little place called Moltrasio. As like a lot of these villages here, set on a very, very steep bank that goes down to the lake itself. And there's some absolutely cracking views right across the lake, which will be stunning in the evening time, with a kind of evening late glow when the lights are then coming on from the villages across the way. It should all be very, very beautiful. But currently it's in the middle of the day really, it's just coming up about 2 o'clock. And there, as you can hear, a lovely river that cascades through the village. And there's a shot up here which I'm going to get. It should be bright enough because of these high buildings and houses. It's like it creates quite a lot of shadow, so we need quite a bit of brightness to make the most of the scene. So that's why I'm out shooting pretty much in the middle of the day, which is never the best time, but this is why. So this absolutely gorgeous waterfall behind me, which runs down to Lake Como here. So just an easy, quick setup, try and get as much of it in as possible. And we'll try a variation of shutter speeds to freeze the water, and then obviously one's longer exposure to make the water become soft and fluffy and flowing down. That way we've got a bit of options just to see what one comes out the best. So what I'm doing here, just to break this down, I've got a polarizer on, as you can see. I've also got this soft grad 0.6, but I've got it going sideways, so you can see here. If I bring that out. So I've got it going across the way that way. The reason being, if you see behind me, this part of the image, which is the building itself, that's the brightest. The sun's over there and it's coming down and hitting that wall. And the foliage here is actually quite dark in comparison. So that's why I've got the filter on soft edge in a completely unconventional angle. Just because of that, just to control it, because there's nothing else that's really too overexposed or too underexposed. I'm not getting an awful lot of the sky in anyway, so that's not a concern to balance the image up. It really is just this brightness of the wall of the building here. So I took the first image, just a test image, and it's still too bright against that wall, so I've put another graduated filter in there, again just to kill a lot of that. The sun keeps on coming and going, which makes it nice, it illuminates the image, but it makes it tricky trying to balance the actual exposure correctly, because it does shift quite a bit. And as you're probably not surprised at, that I'm bracketing as well, because there's quite a lot of dynamic range in the image, especially with this green foliage that's just here. That's quite dark. And obviously the brightness of the water and the brightness of the facing wall here, there's a lot going on. So usual 3 variations on the bracketing. Polarizer, and just to kind of cut through a little bit, nothing too extreme because I'm not too concerned about the reflection of the wet rocks. It's just really to bring some of the foliage colour out, because there's some beautiful moss on the rock face as well, which is great to capture. Let's set it on f-stop 13 ISO 100, and that's giving me quite a nice balanced image. This is obviously not with a long stopper or a little stopper. This is just to capture that motion, freeze the waterfall like that. It is bright, as you can probably tell. It's constantly changing as I record this. But if, in no hurry, going to stay here for a wee bit longer, just try various settings. Wait until the sun changes, wait until maybe some cloud cover. Again, I'm not going to move the tripod, I'm going to move the camera at all. So I have all those images to then blend afterwards as well. So we're looking good, there's quite a lot of options here. Yeah, so really happy with these images. It's just so picturesque. There's no other option of taking this picture apart from the way I've set up at the moment. It's a very narrow scene. There's only so many positions you can put. You can maybe tilt the camera up slightly, but just keeping things really dead on because of where the water is falling. There's like a plateau, there's another level. And the way it hits there, again with the greenery, the ivy and the moss coming round, really, it just frames it perfectly. But just the nature of it being a waterfall, it is just so up and down. So I think that's that one in the bag. Really happy with that. It's a beautiful scene, as you can see behind me. I did bracket quite a few of them. I actually zoomed in a wee bit as well, just to bring the focus in. I'm using the 17 to 40mm. So that really pushes things quite far back when I'm back in at 17mm. But it's the only way to get, obviously I've got it in portrait mode, so it's the only way to get the height of the actual waterfall in all its glory. And I was playing about with the possibility of using a little stopper as well, but there's a breeze and the greenery, the foliage, the trees that are overhanging the waterfall, they're moving. So it wouldn't work well at all. You'll just get blurring. It wouldn't be very sharp. Because of that, you'd lose focus. Obviously you get a nice kind of softness of the waterfall, but I extended it slightly so that you do get a wee bit of movement, but you also get some of the impact of it freezing as well, as I said, when it actually hits that plateau. So I've got an option to maybe introduce some of those factors in the previous, on other images, into the slower, the longer exposed one. And obviously, as I said, did the bracketing as well. So it just gives me an awful lot of information to really pull together. So there's a whole different group of photographs. There's the real wide angle back at 17mm. Then I went a wee bit closer, maybe about 25 I think I was sitting at, just to narrow in slightly more. So I'll do a bit of variation and pull some of the important factors out, some of the nice wee touches, emphasise some of the greens to frame it. And yeah, happy with that image.